For the best imitations of Australian birds, the Dawson Memorial Shield has again been won by the pupils of the Mortdale Public School in New South Wales.
The kookaburra. The coach whip. The galah.
It was the end of World War II, and women were pressed to give up their wartime jobs, return to the kitchen, and start making babies.
There are gray skies. I don't mind the gray skies. You make them blue, sunny boy. Friends may forsake me. Let them all forsake me. I'll still have you, sunny boy.
The campaign worked. Couples, many of them separated for as much as 6 years, made up for lost time, and there was a boom in births that lasted 2 decades. I was one of many born at this time. We became known as baby boomers, and this film is our story.
Abba dabba 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 dabba, said the chimpy to the monkey. Dabba 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 dabba, said the monkey to the chimpy. All night long they'd chatter away, all day long they were happy and gay, swinging and singing in the honky-tonky way. Abba dabba dabba.
It was a time of proud and simple innocence. Australia was a sunny land of hope. American culture and music was knocking on the door, but we were still a homely land of close-knit towns and suburbs.
They went upon their rabba-dabba honeymoon.
It was a time when mothers and aunts got together to preserve fruit in large glass jars, when warm white loaves of fresh baked bread were delivered by the baker, when friendly milkmen delivered the milk in bulk in aluminium pails, and sometimes offered to give you a ride on the back of their horse-drawn cart. It was a world in which the great Aussie myth of the wild colonial, forged into nationhood on the heights of Gallipoli, competed with an even stronger reality, our fondness for regimentation.
Beach, Coolangatta stages a novel get-together for holidaymakers. They follow the actions of hokey-pokey song leaders Hal and Doug Roughton. And now, their war cry.
As well as having fun in well-drilled groups, Australians applied this love of routine to the sudden rush of post-war children. Mothercraft nurses at baby health centres ordered our mothers to put aside only half an hour a day for mothering and to ignore an infant's cries to be fed. We had to wait 4 hours between feeds and slept alone in cots, often in distant bedrooms, so our cries could not be heard.
And how's he been?
Into this world of scientific mothering was born a little girl, a baby boomer, now Helen Townsend. who became so fascinated by the world of her childhood that she wrote a book, Baby Boomers.
This is a great one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
A book designed to submerge the reader in the experience of growing up in the 50s and 60s.
What about the Dettol? Have you got a Dettol ad somewhere?
Dettol ad, yeah, there it is. Yep, which is
Can't
ouch,
forget the Dettol.
ouch. And here's a lovely one, Girls Love Tall Men, positive proof.
Without your help, I would never have been able to join the Air Force. That's great. We've got to use that one.
Yeah. And we've got some of these laxative ones. I think we should use a couple of laxative ones.
Yeah, I like this one though because it shows the whole family.
The whole
So
family
we all
being
need.
dosed.
Yeah, we all need.
As well as pictures and snapshots, the book is made up of memories taken from Helen's family and her childhood friends.
Round the outside loo, we had nasturtiums growing everywhere, orange and gold nasturtiums. And I had a boyfriend there, and his name was Wayne Pratt. Went to school with him all through primary school, and we got married down there. We had veils, and we had the nasturtiums in our hair, and we had a flower girl, and it was very beautiful.
There's something really rather wonderful of going into a butcher's shop with sawdust all over the floor and the big wooden round things in the middle and cutting the slices of meat off and wrapping it up in the paper. And of course, if you rolled up enough newspapers, the butcher would weigh it out on the scales and give you, I don't know how much it was. It wasn't very much money for a lot of newspaper.
He didn't.
Helen also collected stories at baby boomer gatherings that included her husband Stephen Townsend and sometimes his brother Simon.
It was a terrific job, but one of the things that I loved about being a paperboy more than anything else was being able to yell out the paperboy call, which was, I don't know if it's peculiar to Sydney, but the call goes, I've never forgotten it. Hoya, hoya, hoya,
No, this is the northern version of it. This is, it's in the dialect, the pub dialect.
Statistics reveal that baby boomers were the least breastfed babies in all history. The bottle was considered more hygienic.
I remember my younger brother being bottle fed, and there was always a great drama. There was always the smell of burnt milk because my mother had to boil up the formula and the whole thing had to be sterile. And it seemed like this sort of enormous chemical preparation went into feeding this baby.
As we grew up, regularity seemed like a way of life.
What about potties? I was the sort of the potty age. It was 4 hours, you don't get picked up. Babies didn't get picked up. And also the bowels were a big problem. I know my mother, when Bill was about 10, would say to him, have you done a poo today? And he'd say, what you say? What you always? What's no business? But there was a big thing doing a poo and laxets and the
Agarol?
Agarol. No, we laxets. No, and I think I had too many sometimes. And I was sweet.
As toddlers, we seemed to have been more disciplined than kids are today. But it didn't matter, because there was freedom on the back lawn. We got toilet trained there and weaned off the bottle. We learned to crawl in the sun, under the sprinkler, with the dog, next to the hill's hoist. Most of us had a tricycle, although not as fancy as this one. Few kids, however, had pedal cars. I used to dream of owning one and beg my parents for years, but to no avail. Scooters had hard rubber wheels and were the next best thing to having a bike, and the really good ones had pump-up tyres. And for more sedate occasions, there were tea sets.
I can remember having tea parties, and I remember being given a wonderful china tea set, but I was actually very disappointed with the reality of tea parties. You filled up the cups with water or with some sort of coloured stuff and you fed it to the dolls, but the actuality never lived up to my expectation, and I actually thought it was a fairly boring game.
If you ever have the chance, take a spin down to Caramalca, South Australia. There you'll find the school pupils can run rings round you when it comes to going through the hoops.
Just look at these youngsters in action.